Viewers, this is Asvardul, and welcome to another exciting episode of my game development live stream. To me, it's actually not so exciting today because I'm actually feeling a little bad. I might try to end this a little bit early, but my devotion to you, my viewers, is much stronger than any illness. Yeah, let me go ahead and get right to it for you. First things first, you'll notice that the Hall of Spikes looks a little bit different. That's because this week I've been doing some level design on the Hall of Spikes. I was briefly working with changing the indicator on the summon block effect ghost, and it was all right. It was just breaking though, so I couldn't get that into the game, unfortunately. Um, you probably want to see the level in action now that a lot of it's changed, so I'll go ahead and oblige you. Yeah, so first things first is I've actually made some safe areas so that a new player has a sense that they are supposed to be actually going that way and not making them think they're doing something that they shouldn't be doing. Um, I've added some neat little tricks to ow, get get players to sort of understand how things generally wind up working. Yeah, I wound up keeping that in. I moved the pickups over here because this whole area that used to be just the escape route before is now an actual challenge unto itself. Um, I've went ahead and done some of the same things as before. I actually made that jump that time. Um, and finally, I have this big wall here that you are supposed to get over, and that is set up to show the player that you can stack blocks. So you can do something like this. You can do something like this. Yup. There you go. That's how you get out of there. The only remaining things that I need to do is add some sort of obstacle to block off the lower segment of the Hall of Spikes, and that'll pretty much be that. Alternatively, I could put something right here, and but that's game systems that I really haven't designed and don't intend to put into the game just yet. So yeah, that's actually most of what I've been working on. It's not a lot, and the reason is also because I haven't been working on the game a whole lot this week. I've had things at my day job that I've had to take care of. I've also been just doing more reading and trying to understand how to write a good story because I feel like that was one of the things I did really poorly in the hero's journey, and I don't want to do that again. So yeah, now that you've seen that, let's go ahead and talk about what I am actually planning to do on the stream today. Uh, One of the things that I've wanted to do is the little falling animation that happens when Sara is getting the upgrade to her mana charge. That's sort of bothered me. I've wanted to do something about that. So on the stream today, I'm going to be actually creating a item get animation, and then I'm also going to be integrating that item get animation into the event on our treasure chest, so that she'll play the animation and actually hold up the item for her mana charge upgrade. And yeah, you'll be able to see it. It won't have that ridiculous, goofy falling animation. Now, one of the things that I did see in my feedback from my playtesting was that people actually sort of liked the falling animation. They felt it gave Sara character. The problem is that's not really what I'd intended. However, since my testers do like it, that's something I definitely want to keep in. I want that sort of surprise and emoting. That's something that I did do well. So I'm going to go ahead and start with her animation. Um, I went ahead and created a raw item get animation here, and pretty much the way this is going to work is well, just like the other animations. start with that. Oh, not like that. Now, if you're wondering why I'm drawing on top of Sara, it's because I want, oh, that's a thing. I want this to be a front-on view. If you notice, I have her little the folder she's in. I called it non-faced animations, and that's because these animations are not going to point left or right. They're going to be neutral of her direction. And you'll see how I intend to wind up scripting that. So one of the first things I want to do is go ahead and give her a nice big smile, because that's kind of important. Gonna give her some nice big anime eyes, because we all know people like the anime eyes. Go ahead and give her some ears. Actually, I didn't intend to do that, but that's not a bad idea. Actually, yeah, I think there's some benefit to doing it like this. I didn't realize that that was sort of what I had in mind, but you know what? Now that I see it, I'm actually rather liking it. Okay. Okay. Do. Whoa, hello. That wasn't what I intended. Okay, so no, not that. Not like that either. Go ahead and get some lines for her hair in. There we go. Let's go ahead and hide the background, and you'll see that it's kind of a disjointed mess at the moment. Oh, and if my narration seems a little bit kind of stuffy today, that's because I'm not really feeling that great. So don't expect too much out of me. I promise to give you my all, but I can't promise much more than that. Okay. So there are 2 dots of that. Two, three, four. Okay. So kind of the pose that I'm going for, it's sort of like this, except she's going to hold her hands out sort of down low, like so, and then the item will be right there. And then just pretend that these are her legs. And yeah, that's what I'm going for. Right, so what else? What other details? We need the cleavage line. I'm not going to do the harness thing because, actually, no, I am going to do it to a certain degree. Do it like this. Oh, definitely not like that. Okay. A little bit of cleavage, but not too much. Not trying to over-sexualize her, I just want her to be obviously female. Right. I'm also not going to have any gray shading because no parts of her body are going to be on a back-facing layer, so there's really no point to that. I also need... That's correct. And of course her belt is 3 pixels wide. Make sure I'm getting her, ooh, her waist. That's right. Okay. Her skirt comes down, so 3 pixels like so. Then go ahead and make a nice arc here. There we go. Actually, just so that I have it, let's go ahead and make sure that the bounding box is visible, because I want to know what her boundaries are, so I don't want to overdo her animation. It should extend very slightly past the bottom edge of the box, because what's going on is I want it to fit roughly in the 64 by 64 box, but so that I have extra room for other animations, her sprite is actually a 128 by 128 animation. And part of the reason that's the case is when I was working on the hero's journey, um, a lot of Tim the Knight's animations wound up getting just really constrained, because I was trying to fit within a 64 by 64 animation, and that just didn't work at all. So I've learned from that. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sort of follow this line. I'm going to do 1, then 2, then down to there. So I'm going to do... Actually, no. I'm not going to do like that. I'm going to do sort of like this. Then this. Then like that. Go. It's not perfect. It'll do the trick. Besides, I'm going to be going over this in a matter of minutes anyhow with some other colors. I feel like Bob Ross for some reason right now. All I'm missing is the afro. Well, I'm not only missing the afro. I mean, dude had some crazy good facial hair, but one day I'll be that cool. Okay, so what do we got now? Compare that. No, 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 no. Her feet aren't big enough. Also, if you're curious, the reason I'm going for these sort of big feet, that's not a statement about her femininity. It's actually based loosely on the art style that was used for the original Mega Man. I'm actually a pretty big fan of that sort of kind of Bigfoot, sort of Bigfoot setup. It's kind of nice. I like it. Okay, so one of the things I want to do, let's go ahead and add the laces. All right, there we go. So, actually, probably what I want to do is expand her shoulder a little bit. I mean, it's not going to be as big as her armored one, don't get me wrong. But, let's see. Yeah, it's going to be that. Okay, which means. Okay, so this is about to get a little bit hairy, but that's alright. I like a good challenge. Okay, so that's looking a little bit more anatomically sound, as much as it's possible to do so in this style. Yeah, so going back to the example, it's sort of going to be her arms sort of turned inwards. Let me get my little mannequin so I can model it for myself. I don't have a webcam, so you can't actually see me doing this. But one of the things that I've had since I decided to start actually doing development is a little jointed, articulated mannequin. You can get them from, I don't know, Walmart for like $5. But they're set up such that you can bend them any way a real person could actually bend. And the reason this is important is so that I can make poses and keyframes for animations that actually look realistic. When I was starting out, a lot of my art looked weird because I had no idea how the human body moved. Well, thing is, artists have had the solution to this problem for literally centuries now. So someone had mentioned it once, and I was paying attention that day, and I bought one of the little mannequins, and my pixel art has been better ever since. So now you know too. I think I've shared something of value and import with you today. All right, so we still have a little bit to go, but what I'm going to do is, unlike the straight arm animations, I'm now going to start bending the arm in. Okay, this is where this is going to get iffy. Okay. Okay. doesn't look quite right. That looks like she's got her hands in her sleeves and is doing a stereotypical Asian gesture, which actually might be interesting in the context of her character. Um, but I don't feel that that's strictly necessary. So we're not doing that. Okay, so what's going to happen is the thing is going to be roughly centered right about here. That way when she's doing the item get, you'll hear the dun 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 da 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 dun. And she'll do her thing with this animation, and then as soon as the player hits continue, she'll go back to whatever her old pose was, and the text box will advance, and stuff will be magically good. So, let's go ahead and get ready to white this out. That was my little my little rough guide image. And I feel like we've gone beyond. Okay. Actually, I'm not entirely happy with this. I feel like it could be better. So it could be. That's a little bit better. Okay, that actually looks more like she's actually cradling something. So I think we're onto something there. Also, I'm not happy with her alignment. Okay. Okay. So I think there's some other issues I need to address here, but by and large, this should be good enough to go on with. So of course, before I go much further, let me go ahead and address this. I still don't think the feet are quite right. Let's see. There we go. So that means I also need to do something about the laces, but we'll have that solved momentarily. The good news is this isn't associated with a more complex animation. I'd have to do a lot more. And her feet are lopsided, that's no good. Right. Alright, so if we can, we can't even see that, that's right. Select none, there we go. So if we see that, comparison to that, yeah, that looks a little bit more authentic. Like she's actually turned to face the camera and is holding the item with a look of great satisfaction on her face. So yeah, okay, I think we're onto something there. That gets a pass from me. The shadow is kind of bothering me. Oh, what the heck? This one's actually not well balanced. You know, that might be the problem I was having with the shadows last episode. Okay, so this might be the time when I actually fix that problem. Then do that. Cut. Try it again. Cut. Edit. Paste. Really? No. Okay. Take two. Oh, that's what was going on. Okay. Okay, cool. Just making sure. Okay, so still not quite perfect. There's an incorrect number of pixels, but okay, it's a lot better. I could go ahead and recreate her other animations off screen and manually fix those shadows myself. Those are going to be a little bit on the distracting side. But there we go. We now have an item get pose for Sara. Go ahead and export that to our game. And then we can get ready for the next phase. And I think I'd mentioned before in previous videos, I am going to be compiling all of these frames into a sprite atlas at some point, but that time is not today. Okay. So we should have some brand new, yeah, I have to go ahead and import this as the proper type. Clamp, bilinear is good, 128, true color. There we go. That looks like a winner. Go ahead and, oh, not all that. It's way too much. Need to go ahead and add the sprite to her list of animations, which is going to be extremely simple. All I have to do is item get, and it's comprised of exactly one frame, which, funny enough, is that. Now, this is where things are going to get interesting. Oh, hey there, Habs1. How's it going? All right, so this is where things are going to get interesting. Now, I've got all of this working, but now we've got to get the chest to actually wind up using this. So there's a few things that need to happen first. One of the things that I've done in this game is I've started making more of my dialogue be data driven. Instead of coding everything directly through the Unity editor like you saw me do with Sara's animations, I've been moving more and more things out into these JSON files. And the reason I've been doing that is to enable the game to be moddable at some point in the future. It's very important, actually. So you can see a few things going on here. This is the JSON blob for our item get sequence. It starts off in this with this obtain item state here, and you see the dialogue. Sara got a mana crystal. These are the buttons you can use to go on to other parts of this dialogue thread. But you also see this dialogue events thing. And among these, you see increase max mana. Well, we need to add another handler here. And this is where things get interesting because now it needs a series of arguments to actually tell it what to do. For these, I'm going to do, I'm going to tell it to use the item get animation. Then as soon as they advance, we fall into this right here, which needs another dialog event. Okay. Like so. Hobbs 1. This is actually not a standard script. What this is a JSON blob that is telling the treasure chest what to do. All this nastiness here is raw data. This in and of itself doesn't do a whole lot to drive game logic. There's actually a C# script that is on everything that has dialogue that looks at a blob, either this blob or a blob very like this, and interprets it so that the dialogue system winds up working. That way, I'm not having to hard code a whole bunch of crap. That's the main draw of this sort of thing. Right, so we've got that, but what we don't have is we don't have a conversation handler for that. Let's see, behaviors. Should find a good reference for you guys on this. Here we go. The conversation events. Perfect. So is just to tell me what to do? No, not exactly. Um, the script, well, this blob of JSON encoded data stuff, this doesn't tell me what to do. This just tells the dialogue system what to do. But it's not a script. It's kind of an interesting case, I know, but yeah. Um, yeah, you'll see in just a minute. Let me go ahead and put it that way, because my next task is actually to write something to implement those instructions that I just added to our data. And what's going to wind up happening is it's going to look a lot like this. It's going to be debuggable behavior, and it's going to have a couple of public methods that let me do this sort of thing. Hobbs 1, just trying to get into Unity programming and ask if you can help us. I probably I could help you with some C#. Actually, if you want, if you're on the Unity forums, you could always send me a private message at my on my Unity forums account, and I could get back to you more easily that way. I'm going to go ahead and put that in Twitch chat, just like that for you. All right. Yeah, I'd be happy to help you. So just shoot me a message, and I can help you with that off camera. Right. So back to the conversation item events. Yeah, we need to do some code. So let's go ahead and do that. So resource conversation events. Yeah. Okay, so there's some things we need to do to get off the ground. First, this class needs to be a debuggable behavior. All this debuggable behavior based class does is it exposes me some easier ways of writing debug messages, which is very helpful. Now, pretty much all I have to do if something starts acting up is I can flip a switch on the component and I'll start seeing my debug messages whenever I don't care. I just flip it off and no one really worries about it. All right. So there are going to be some things that I am going to have to do. Habs 1, yes. My profile picture is a cat in StarCraft 2 Marine armor, specifically. So, private. So I'm going to need a Sara animation controller. Um, this thing, it's just a list of animation states. It has a method here that we're going to be messing with in just a little bit. But more importantly, I'm going to want to do that and have this controller be able to talk to this. Hobbs 1. Hey, I made some game art. I can give you a free cartoony background. Interesting. I might look into that at some point in the future. I'll tell you what, I'll keep that in mind. I don't have any solid plans for the game's art style. Some people like my sort of tile setup. Um, I'm just undecided about it. Um, yeah. But more importantly, let me see, we need to do something with perform animation and resume original animation. It's very important that I use system and system collections.generic because I'm going to be passing this a list of string arguments. Actually, so what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to get the first argument that we're going to be passing into this, and Hobbs 1 has to go. All right, man. Well, if you can't get back, I hope you've had a good weekend, and I hope I'll see you this time next Sunday, man. I'm going to go ahead and need to grab that, but I'm also going to need to going to want to go ahead and tell the animation to do something different than what it would normally do. Instead of going down the list and finding a animation that keys off of the player's state, it needs to do something completely different instead. And then the resume original animation is going to tell it um, to stop doing the animation override. So that's pretty much how that's going to go. This is nice and simple. Nothing too crazy about this. So I'm going to create a flag that's going to live inside of this. And Hobbs1, no, I'm not familiar with Photon Cloud. I've done multiplayer networking before in just vanilla Unity networking, but it's been quite some time since I've done that. I'm not going to be of much help in that, but I could probably look into things for you if I'm feeling good tomorrow. Well, first I'm going to be going to work, but if I'm feeling good tomorrow, I could look at that when I get home, but yeah, I'm not even sure if I'm going to work tomorrow. But we'll see. One thing at a time. So first thing, right, animation equals true, and then we'll do this sort of thing. Animation state sequence equals animation state stop. And we'll do this thing. So pretty much what's going to happen with this logic here is as soon as we call override animation, it's going to flip a switch and it's going to set her current animation to be whatever we tell it to be. Then this is going to fire every engine loop. However, when this switch is turned on, her animation is going to she's not going to do what she would normally do until we tell her animation system to just stop. So there we go. Um, and I appreciate that, Hobbs. You've got a good spirit, man. Eh. All right, so yeah, that's gonna be that's pretty simple and straightforward. Stop animation override is going to be that's going to be pretty straightforward too. We're just going to do that. That needs to be public, actually. There we go. So all right, so what we've got here in the data, it's going to reiterate. We're going to tell this animation conversation events. We're going to tell her to fall into the item get pose, which is going to forcibly override her animation system. She's going to act like she's holding the item. Then we're going to progress past that point. User hits the next dialogue thing, and then we're going to resume her original animation. So there we go. Nothing to it. Will it compile? Dang it. Okay, I'll just have to do it like that then. That's the problem. Okay, cool. So it built. There is still another slight problem though. Let's go ahead and get into this. Give her a 13th animation state. And that's... She needs an item get animation state. Cool. And also, if you're wondering why I'm not calling it something completely different, it's because I'm actually going off of like the old bad Japanese translations where they say item get, and yeah, it's just completely funny. Quick picture of Sara, and am I gonna add some bad guys? What are they gonna look like? I haven't designed them yet. I don't really have any concept art for Sara so much. It's something that I've been just sort of going on with as I've gone along. If you really want to, if you really want to see her, I mean, let's see where it's a good. Yeah, this is her idle left animation. She's just a mage with a little bit of armor. I mean, that's nothing special. Um, I have in my source file. I have a colored version of her, but I'd really rather stick with my sort of my own pixel art for the time being. But I mean, if later on down the line someone wants to pick it up and mess with it, I mean, I'll be happy to let them. I mean, but I don't think right. I think right now it might actually be a little bit too early for that in hindsight. That's something I should. That's something I really should have mentioned first, because you. I mean, you're getting really gung ho about it, man. And yeah, it's not. If you notice how everything's sort of black and white, that's because I'm still working on animations and stuff too. I mean, I haven't really settled on much. So yeah, you'll probably have to wait a little bit for me to get to that point. Right. So okay. So we've got an item get. Actually, my OCD is getting bothered. Yeah, there we go. So that should work. That way I can just say, oh. Okay, well that only slightly complicates it. There we go. Okay, should work. We should see a brand new animation whenever we play through. Okay. Okay, here we go. Ow. Crap. Okay, at least I survived that. Oh man. It's also a bug with the mouse button down here, but yeah, that's a problem though, because that animation's not firing. First things first, try something right quick. Try one more time because I wasn't paying proper attention. Could have sworn I saw a fragment of another animation in there. Right, this is why I have... Oh, that's right. I never updated the GUI manager with conversation events. That would tend to do it. Okay. So animation conversation events. There we go. All right. So one more time. All right, so what's going to wind up happening now is we get to go to the second part of this little challenge. I'm going to be adding the little pickup. It's going to go right in front of her there. So like the top of her mouth will be just barely peeking over it. Okay. So first thing we need, go ahead and cut those guys off. Excuse me a second. Okay, it's better. So we're overriding the animation, but we also need another behavior here too. Oh, by the way, Habs1, I made the music. All right, so this stuff's working, and that's good. I can programmatically, I can, in a data-driven way, tell her what animations, or the current player character, what animations to use. What I'm really gonna need though is I'm gonna need a another conversation event system to actually show like the little mana pickup and then position it. So we need more data. It's going to be show loot. And this thing's going to have a few args because we need to know there we go. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to add a new dialogue event called show loot. There's going to be a dictionary of strings to images, and what's going to wind up happening, or there's going to be a dictionary of strings to prefabs of sprites of images, and what's going to happen is they're going to be placed on the player, but with an offset from the center of the player's sprite, or the player object, I should say. So yeah, we're going to show loot, and then we're also going to hide loot. Like so. And by the way, if you guys are wondering, this is actually this whole this sort of setup here is actually inspired quite a bit by the game Starbound, which it's shaping up to be, in my opinion, a monumental failure. But they have some great implementation ideas in the way that you can mod their game. So I mean, even though I don't like the way they're taking it, there's still value to be had. Um, you go ahead and create. Gonna go ahead and create a brand new set of conversation effects for this too. And it's gonna largely go like the last one. I hate it when mucus is all yeah, it's not really comfortable to be me right now. I've got like mucus in awkward places. Tell you one thing, as soon as I'm done with this live stream, I'm taking some cold medicine and knocking myself out. It'll be great. Um, so I'll try it like this. Okay. All right, and I need to go ahead and do something else, and that is to create a class. Just going to call it a loop prefab pair. Habs 1, no, I'm not developing for iOS. Instead, I'm developing for PC and Steam, if at all possible. The reason I'm not developing for iOS is because I sort of have problems with what's going on in the mobile space right now. I mean, there's some very bad business and some bad business practices. Yes, I'm referring to free to play and stuff, but there's also some out and out fraud that's happening too. On top of that, I also feel like the mobile space is heading for a serious decline at some point in it may not it's not going to be like tomorrow or something. I mean, the sky is not yet falling, but it's oh god, that was gross. It's certainly heading that direction. And really, I see no I see no profit in being part of mobile. I see no really good reason to be part of mobile. It's easier to develop for PC since I already have it. Yeah, it just makes more sense to stick with PC. I mean, there's still PC gamers. Steam is a thing. Um, Also, I do have a Linux netbook. That's actually what I'm watching my Twitch my Twitch chat on, and I can also test my works on Linux as well. There's some great markets out there, and cell phone. Another problem too, while I'm on that subject, is cell phones are what I like to call cell phone games are generally what I like to call toilet gaming. What you do is you get your phone, you go sit on the toilet, and you distract yourself from all the wonderful smells that you're making. That's not to say that all cell phone games are bad. I mean, we do have Final Fantasies making their way onto cell phones. Don't get me wrong. The thing is that by and large, there's these are meant generally the successful phone games are the small, short, extremely casual experiences, which is good. If that's especially if that's what you want to develop, there's going to be a market for that. Um, the problem is that such a design, I feel, limits what I want to create, and it doesn't really hold that much interest for me. In addition to the other reasons, so there you go. Right, I do need to go ahead. Finish off this loop prefab pair. There we go. Now, if you wondered why I made this serializable, if you want things to show up in the Unity editor, they have to be serializable. And this behavior is something that I want to only exist in the editor. I don't want this to be data driven because I want this sort of thing to be hard. I do, for the time being, I want this sort of thing to be hard coded. Partially to get the prefab, it almost has to be hard coded. There's ways around that, but I don't feel like implementing them, to be perfectly honest. Right. So show loot, hide loot. Those are our events. String. Cool. And then
Avast virus database has been updated.
oh, thank you, Avast Virus Database. I'm glad you updated. Okay, let me go ahead and do public. Go ahead and set a public player offset. Oh, public float player offset. My bad. And I can go ahead and revise this like so. And then from here, it's just a simple matter of caching the result. Actually, Actually, I'm going to throw an exception instead. Those aren't the ones I'm thinking of. Let's do something like that. Identity, like so. There we go. And then to hide the loot, we're just going to destroy it. Like so. Destroy. And then on destroy, I'm just going to go ahead and yeah, just going to do that. That way it'll clean up any references that exist and prevent any leaks. There we go. So not too much there. I used a little bit of link there to go ahead and just find the first loot artifact. So let's see what we got. Didn't quite compile, but that's okay. Oh, I have to use Unity Engine. Cool. How about now? Okay. Oh. That would do it. How about now? Dang, I wrote a lot of interesting code. Okay. Wait a second. Bull crap, it doesn't. A list is an IEnumerable. Yeah, see? It's IEnumerable. You can see it right there. Oh, that's right. I didn't use system.link. Uh-huh. Go. I have to do some casting, of course. Okay, and I just used that the wrong way. Now my programming's getting sloppy. Okay. Right. So one way or another, this is about to be a night for me. But first, I need to go ahead and create an empty. This is going to be our, excuse me, okay. So it's going to be, okay. Get in here really good so you can see this. And give this a quad. Renderer. We need to go ahead and create a material for this. And funny enough, I've already created a suitable object already. It just needs the correct shader, like so. It doesn't need any special scripts. We are way ahead. What it does need oh, that's a thing. So I might have jumped the gun a little bit. Okay. Like so. Okay. Then I just need to store it in a prefab. Go ahead. Lodo artifact. I'm not thinking of Dragon Warrior 3. It's a good game though. Okay, so we got that. Safely delete that. Actually, it needs to be negative 0.25 because positive 0.25 will put it behind the player, which isn't quite what I want. Okay, so I've got that. There is a bug. I just thought of it too. This needs to be plus. There we go. So what's going to happen is it's going to get this data. I need to fix the editor. No. There we go. Haha. All right. It's going to get this data. It's going to get the name of the loot that it needs to show. It's going to get an X and a Y offset. It's going to appear at a predetermined place in relation to the player character. That gets passed here. This gets figured out. Position gets created. Finds the correct loot. If it doesn't find any, it cries wolf. It instantiates the prefab. As soon as we're tired of it, prefab gets nuked. And we null the prefab instance because it's no longer a thing. What could possibly go wrong? Oh. That's awkward. A fool's duty, everything could go wrong. If only I'd known that. Darn Twitch lag. Okay, so we still have a slight problem. Is it a data problem? Oh, I did it in pixels. It's okay. I'm blaming it on the fact that I don't feel good. I'm not usually this incompetent. You can see my other streams. Okay, that looks like that's censoring something just awkward. Let's raise that up a little bit. No. Get up. There we go. Okay. And I don't even have to wait for a recompile because it's just data. That's why I love JSON. Alright, so there we go. And we can finish the episode on a high note. Ow. Not that high of a note. Wait for mana regen. Okay. Oh crap. Not good. Not good. Okay. Let the mana regenerate. There we go. Alright. There you go. That's how you escape the cave. That's how you get a bunch of conversation effects that are data-driven into your game in the most time-consuming, inefficient way possible. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you do it. Alright, I'm going to wind up committing this to Git, but I want to thank you all very much for putting up with my halfway ill monologue. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for watching. You can always give me a like and a follow. It's much appreciated and it really helps. This game isn't going to be out for quite a while. I mean, you can see I've got lots of work to do on it. But I really appreciate you guys watching. I really appreciate your ideas and suggestions. Those honestly, those help even more than likes and subscribes in their own way. Um, it's really great that you guys are getting behind this game, and I really appreciate this, and I want to make it the best possible game. Um, and Hobbs, you could. It's just I'm about to go to sleep. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but it's a little early for the post-release artwork. I sort of charged through a lot of this. I'm mostly doing a lot. I'm doing a lot of this just to show my process. Um, was this helpful to you guys who are watching? Did you see some good code? Did you see some good art? Did any of the things I say actually prove illuminating or helpful in any way? I'll go ahead and wait for you guys to tell me more about that. Relax. A fool's duty was okay. That's good. I've amused someone. That's a step in the right direction. My soothing voice. Oh, thank you. I've been working on my voice when I'm recording. Oh man, wish I wasn't doing it sick. If I have to get sick to have a soothing voice, then we have problems. Either that, or I'll just have to pretend that I'm getting sick every time I stream. That'll be kind of awkward. Um, yeah. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys watching. It's 9:57 where I'm at. I don't know where you guys are in the world. I know some people actually watch this from Europe, so it's extremely late in the night for you guys. Um, Probably gonna let you guys go ahead and go to sleep in just a sec then. Yeah, cold medicine is going to be really awesome. Um, I'm really glad y'all like what you see too. Um, and a fool's duty told me to go. Hey, fool's duty said, "Go to bed, man." Okay, I will. I'm saluting you right now. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for watching. Cold medicine is going inside of the me in just a moment, but thank you very much. Hope you've enjoyed watching. I haven't repeated myself enough. I'm preemptively blaming cold medicine. Thank you guys very much for watching. Till next time. See ya.